28-year-old Elwyn doesn't blame his parents. They did what they thought was right at the time. But he estimates today he's just one of thousands of circumcised Australian men who wish they weren't. Do you feel brave talking about this?
I feel awkward. It's a strange thing to talk to people about, to open up that topic.
So why do you do it?
I think we need to.
In the past, you have said circumcision is tantamount to child sexual abuse.
Yes, it is child abuse, and because it's abuse of a child's sexual organs, it's sexual abuse. Logic.
I can picture parents all over the country throwing things at you at the TV screen, saying there's absolutely no way we sexually abused our sons.
No, I understand that. And they have done everything they can to help their baby and to protect their baby from what they want to protect the baby against. But the fact is that it is painful, invasive, irreversible.
What they're saying is you're mutilating your child, and that's say that to any parent, for any child, you just go off your head. If somebody told me I'm mutilating my kid, I'd just rip them a new one. They've got no right to say that. I haven't done anything to hurt my kid. It's to help them.
No one is going to tell Coleman and Beck Gillane how to raise their 3 children. Living the idyllic life just outside of Hobart in Tasmania, clearly Maggie and their circumcised sons, Fion and Owen, are their world.
It's our choice. Like, nobody can have a problem or an issue with what we've done with our kids. They're our kids. We're doing what we think is the right thing for them.
We're doing what we think is right for our kids.
So, yeah.
You guys are a minority here in Tasmania for having your boys circumcised, so does that make you think twice about telling people what you've done?
Nah.
A little bit. I don't openly say, oh, you know, woohoo! Look at the boys circumcised. How about you?
What are we going to cut?
The Apple Isle is the one state in the country considering officially banning circumcision. As it stands, no doctor here will do an elective circumcision, so families like the Gillanes have to travel to the mainland for the procedure. Not surprisingly, it's barrister Paul Mason who is agitating for the ban.
I made a referral to the Tasmanian Law Reform Institute to look at it, and their final report is that it's unethical and it's a breach of the child's human rights. So they are proposing a general ban.
Do you really believe making circumcision a criminal offence is going to stop it?
I expect that over time it will become part of our culture to understand that this is something that we don't do.
I think that's just shock tactics. I really do, because, I mean, are our children traumatised? Were you traumatised as a child?
No, I personally think it's ridiculous.
I think it's a bit silly.
Yeah, I don't know which room did he? Was he in the?
I think that one.
Right at the end.
Back in Brisbane, the wait for baby Liam's operation to be over is getting a bit much for Dad Chris.
He's not making too much noise, if any. Spoke too soon.
And here's how sensitive circumcision has become. We're not allowed to show you Liam's procedure because Dr. Russell fears being sued.
First thing that we have to do is separate off that adhesion between the foreskin and the head of the penis.
But it was a very different story 5 years ago when 60 Minutes last looked at this debate.
I'm crushing along the midline.
Back then, Dr. Russell was proud to show off his circumcision precision.
And she shouldn't feel a thing. There you go.
And explain how the technique he uses is virtually painless. He uses a device called a Plastibell, inserts it under the baby's foreskin and ties it off with string. And how traumatic is it then?
Very minor.
So the babies we hear crying in your surgery are not crying from pain?
I would say that the babies will pretty much all cry, Tara, but normally once the procedure is over and the assistant lets go of the legs, crying stops instantly.
It might feel longer than 15 minutes, but baby Liam's snip is complete.
Okay, buddy.
and he's reunited with his parents. A quick look in from Dr. Russell and everyone is happy.
And Chris, it looks perfect. It's
Excellent.
exactly the right length and
Awesome.
lovely and even and virtually foolproof. So it's going to be an excellent result.
Good to hear.
Sadly, Elwyn Moyer's experience is vastly different. He's so unhappy circumcised, he's resorted to extraordinary steps to correct it.
Dare I ask, how would you do that?
What you do is you use some specially created products to grip the remaining skin and apply some tension to it for several hours a day with some sort of weight or some sort of stretched cord.
It sounds awful.
It's not great. It's a bit of a burden, and but it's worth it.
A few hours after his operation, Liam O'Loughlin is sleeping like a baby, unaware, it would seem, of the procedure or the thought his parents put into it.
And we also talked about, you know, will it be more important for him to look like Dad as opposed to look more like his classmates, and, you know, if he's playing sports, you know, his friends, because that's, you know, going to be a factor as well. So
Yeah.
we did.
But in saying that as well, like I've played a fair bit of sport in my time and whatever else, and I've never found any kids making fun of anyone that's either had the operation or haven't.
Do you look?
Well, it's sort of in footy sheds. It's all happening. So, but we're confident he won't remember a thing. So we're happy with that.
Remember to have your say on email, Facebook or Twitter. Up next, Saving the Elephant.
This is a war.
One woman's extraordinary battle.
I'm so sorry. This is a blood trade.
Alison Langdon in the wilds of Africa.
They could easily have killed you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
That's next on 60 Minutes.